Welcome to the Nerd Cave News. I am one of your hosts, Zach Dykes, joined along with a ghost type Pokemon, mammoth armadillo like with translucent fur, a spiky tail, and a sneering mouth. He's impish by nature, hiding in dark caves, and attacks with ominous wind and confuse ray. You will only find him after you give up 6 hours of searching. It's Wooladilla.
You know what? For the first show of the new year, that was a great way to kick off with the name. That was a great choice, especially the ghost type, like the translucent fur. The description of it, fantastic. 10 out of 10 to start the year. I can only imagine your lovely wife did that name.
Yep, Amy came up with the name.
There we go.
Well, Wooladilla, we're glad to have you here. First show of the new year, and
Uh huh.
we've already got some smoking guns out there in the gaming news.
Oh, I know. Like first show of the year, and here I was worried. It's like, all right, New Year was last year. Not a lot of news happened at the tail end of last week, but then the beginning of this week delivered. So
Mhm.
we have some stuff to talk about, some big stuff. Not a lot of segments, but a lot of stuff in one of the segments happening, especially in the world of PlayStation. So let's get into this. But first, what who are our sponsors for this episode?
This episode is brought to you by Audible and Patreon. You can listen to your favorite podcasts and get a free audio book by going to audibletrial.com/nerdcave. Free 30 days. Go get your free book. You like Halo? We've been playing a ton of Halo. Guess what? There are so many Halo books. You like Star Wars? Boom, boom, boom. So many Star Wars books. You like Gears of War? Oh man, we got you hooked up. You can get one free audio book by going over to audibletrial.com/nerdcave. And a little known fact, guys, if you go get the book, you can cancel before the 30 days. And guess what? You get to keep it for free. I didn't say
There
that.
you
I
go.
didn't say that.
Oh, see, I didn't know. You drop a new nugget every time we do this
Mm,
ad run because I didn't know you get to keep it after the 30-day trial. That is
yep.
really good.
Yep. It is all yours. And Willadilla, the part
Hmm.
mammoth, part armadillo Pokemon that we have on tonight. Where can people go?
Translucent fur.
Yeah. Where can people go to become more? Can
So
evolve.
if you want, right, yeah, evolve into. So if you want to hop on this ship, if you've seen Zach play Sea of Thieves with Two Beards play. If you like that, if you want to hop on and have fun with us in the real world, what we call Sea of Thieves, you can go over to patreon.com/the Nerd Cave, just like our wonderful crew members already have, such as Brandon Hicks, Richard Newell, Daniel Sanford, Rushing Waters Yoga, The Conductor, Marilyn James, excuse me, gotta get ready for this last one, and Brittany, the Granny Bee Harrison. Bow, 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 bow.
Martin Sager.
Oh, yeah, he's normally in the higher up, like middle of the thing. So
well, it's in order of uh support. It's order and support that I
got you.
think.
Okay.
And I forgot to put Salty Santa, Brandon the Salty Santa Hicks on there. But hey, it's all good, guys. We do this live. This is the Nerd Cave News, where each and every week we run you through all the video game news that you need to know. You can watch us live over on twitch.tv/nerdcave network on Thursdays at 9 p.m. Or you can watch the show later over on youtube.com/nerdcave network. Or if you're over on Facebook and you prefer watching over there, which is kind of weird, you can also check it out over there on our Facebook page, Nerd Cave Network. And guys, if you're into bite-sized nuggets of gaming news and content and all of that, you should check out the TikTok when I put up new stuff over there. It's all good. It's all good in the hood. And you know what else is good, Derek? Our January Game
Drink.
Club game. We're currently playing Halo Infinite. Have you started
Yeah.
it? Did you start it over the break?
No, because I've been meaning to text you this. I've actually been playing a lot of the campaign recently.
Oh,
Like I
nice,
know we played
nice.
multiplayer on stream.
Mm-hmm.
I'll play a few matches here or there
Yeah.
off stream or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
I have been playing the campaign.
Nice.
Um, I don't know how far you are into it. But I am. Well, wait, where are you at? Or have you finished it?
I have
Or
not finished it. I just I don't want to give anything away. The big.
Uh,
Have you been to
I
the big
know,
drill? The big drill yet?
like to go to like the bit. Yeah, I've been there. Like you little like the little laser drill.
Yeah. Bassus.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I'm right after that, like when you go down further. So that's where I'm at the moment.
Oh, I'm further than you then, actually.
Yeah. I've been playing a lot
Not
more.
by
I've
much,
been
but
playing a lot more multiplayer. I only play it on stream,
right.
so. But yeah, we're playing Halo Infinite. You've been digging the story.
Yeah, so I was gonna say I like I know because there was a debate back with the Horizon Zero Dawn when it first came out whether it was a true RPG or not.
Mhm.
I finally gave into that, so maybe I'll give into this line of thought. But I wouldn't really consider this an open world, but like
Yeah.
a bit like you do a lot of exploring, but it doesn't feel like a lot of the segments you have to wait for cinematic things to go to the next part.
Yeah.
So I don't consider that a true open world, but I love the Far Cry esqueness of what they've done to this world. Like
Yeah.
I know, especially when Far Cry 6 dropped, it was just like, oh, another by the numbers, go here, do this, this, that, and the other. But for something that's like Halo, that it's not been done before, it works. And everything has a purpose, like you go and find stuff, you can find stuff for multiplayer, you can find stuff to upgrade your character in game. I've got four of my no, is it four? I've got at least three of the five gadgets already fully upgraded.
Nice.
And but one of my things I love about the side stuff is the bases. Like, you take over the fob bases
Mhm.
and you unlock like the fortress thing, like in Far Cry.
Yep.
And in Far Cry, it's usually always like the layout is different and the enemy types are different, but it's usually just like, all right, kill everyone and
Yeah.
you get the base. Within Halo, I love it because the objectives are always different.
Yeah.
Like one base you go to, all they tell you to do is free the prisoners. Another base, just destroy the cooling tanks.
Mhm.
Like this latest one I did, it was like basically in front of a big checkpoint, so all I had to do was lower the gates and I got the base. I took over the base. Now of course there's a lot of enemies,
Yeah.
and you still have to, I go through and kill them all anyway, but it's not the end, it's not the main objective. You have to go through and kill all 80 enemies before you take over the base.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy that aspect of it. And the story, and I know we give 343 a lot of flack for like being too overly ambitious with the story and basically throwing lore out there but never explaining it
Yep.
and leaving it up to us to figure it out. I still feel like there's stuff they're not telling us, but what they mention, I feel like we are. So far, from what I played, it feels like they're giving us the answers as we progress through the story. It's not just like, all right, we're going to throw this out here, never address it again.
Yeah.
I feel like this time around, they took the feedback to heart and are basically like, spoon feeding us those answers as we go through the story to keep us guessing, to keep us wondering, to keep us playing. So that I do like. So is it a perfect game? Not, not by any means, but it is one of the best Halo outings 343 has done since they've taken the mantle.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's their strongest game that they've made, and multiplayer being so well done.
Yeah.
I've put way more into Halo than I thought I would. I thought Infinite, I wouldn't even play it, to
Yeah.
be 100% honest. And now we're playing it a ton. So I'm really
Yeah.
loving it. We will be wrapping up Halo Infinite this month, and we're going to be planning a day where we have a big discussion around it, taking people's comments and everything. So be ready for that. Me and Derek will talk about
Yep.
a day for us to do that and everything, but I'm really looking forward to that. We're going to really make a game club a bigger thing this year. We kind of
Yeah.
put it out in its beta form. We did what the gaming industry
Yeah.
loves to do. We put it out there before it was ready.
I mean, it's like Alfred said in The Dark Knight, you either die the hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to make it an even bigger thing this year and everything. So we're going to have discussions. We might even bring people onto the show so they can talk about it themselves and everything. So we're going to be kind of playing around with that idea and everything as we move forward. And February will be here soon. And we've got the tough choice, Derek, either doing Horizon or the new Pokemon game.
Oh, I don't have a Switch though.
Dude, man. Dude. I'm just messing.
Dude.
But hey, we'll figure that out. More than likely we Horizon.
Yeah.
But anyway. That one's going to be a 2-monther for sure.
Oh yeah, 100%.
For easy, might even be 3.
I was about to say, if they're going big and ambitious as what we've seen in the last couple trailers, it may push a 3-month game.
It might. It just might. But guys, we are going to get into the gaming discussion this week. BioShock creator Ken Levine current project is in development in limbo, and it looks like it is his own stinking fault. So let's jump into that.
So, right, and this kind of came literally out of nowhere because Jason Schreier over at
Mhm.
Bloomberg reported this. And Ken Levine's a name we haven't heard of in a long time, ever since he did leave.
Yeah.
And we haven't heard. Mum has been the word. But of course, the first part about the first time we hear of it, it's not good.
Yep.
Excuse me. So Ken Levine is best known for his work on BioShock, one of the seminal games to be released in the industry at all. After the success of BioShock Infinite, Levine wanted a change of pace, announcing Irrational Games would be no more, starting a new, small studio called Ghost Story Games. It's been almost 8 years now since that happened, and still Ghost Story Games is nowhere close to releasing a game, according to a new report from Bloomberg. Journalist Jason Schreier spoke to current and former developers from Ghost Story who don't see the studio ready to release anything until at least another 3 years from now, being generous.
Ugh.
According to the employees, we needn't look further than Levine himself as the root of the trouble. His management style has been well documented as a poor one, though the lack of supervision he's enjoyed the last 8 years has let it run rampant. Quote, Levine's managerial style has led to burnout, and former employees say caused a lot of pain. In fact, it's a fact of the industry that not everything you make for a game will find its way to its final product, but it seems that Levine's ambitions and inability to make final creative decisions have just led to a studio that feels stalled and seems like a miserable place to work altogether. Now, you can go over to Bloomberg and read Jason's full write-up, because when Jason writes on something, it goes for pages and pages. So it doesn't list it all here, but this is not a good thing to say. Like from what I've skimmed, like in other parts covering this,
Yeah.
it seems like he's very, I don't want to say indecisive, but it's not as bad as the Dying Light 2 director when we talked about it earlier last year, like how he basically had ADHD and just is like, oh, I want this, I want this, I
Yeah.
want that. I don't care if it doesn't make the game. It doesn't seem like it's on that level, but it's not great. Like when you've been sitting on the pot for 8 years
Yeah.
and still haven't produced anything, and it's crazy to think because he was the head at Irrational,
Mhm.
and it's like, did 2K have to? Was it like a lot of behind the scenes stuff where 2K had to send a lot of its brass to come help Irrational like make this great game, like, or get Ken Levine on track? Like,
Yeah.
since he's running the studio by himself, with like he's the top dog and he doesn't answer to anyone. Starting to find out that pretty much maybe it was 2K that helped make his games great and not him?
Yeah, like creatives a lot of times, they're very right brained, where
Yeah,
it's all like, oh well, we're just making stuff and everything. You have to have those analytical minds. You have to have the people that are structured as well to make things happen majority of the time, because
yeah,
creatives struggle with that a lot. Going from, they start a project, they don't finish it, and then they jump to another one, and so forth
yeah,
and so on. And at Irrational, Kevin might have been running things, but that doesn't mean that the structure below him wasn't, well thought out and everything, because
yeah.
it being owned by 2K, they have the ultimate say of who's going to be part
Yep.
of the ship and everything. So I think, we look at this and it's like, wow, you have one of the guys that has made some of the mainstay titles, and it might be
Yeah.
like, it's like, yeah, the stories and the games were great, but it was that, we don't know the structure and how everything flowed and worked back then. And Ken, I think I said Kevin Levine, Ken
Yeah.
Levine, him being on that more artistic side and everything is clearly worn thin on people's, you know
Yeah.
the people that are
Because I
working
think
for him.
it's caused like investors to show a lack of faith, and it's
Mm,
caused a lot of people to leave the studio already. So
mm,
it's no bueno. So it's like one of those, like, get off the pot, or make it brew. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
it's you kind of have to make a decision here, otherwise you're going to go belly up. And it's sad to see because 8 years ago he was one of the rock stars. Like he was becoming what Neil Druckmann was before, he took,
Oh yeah.
Neil Druckmann became Neil Druckmann.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like he was one of the top dogs and everything. And I hope to see that something happen, but 3 more years, that's a
And they even said that's generous.
yeah, and that's 11 years in. And you haven't made
Yeah.
a game, like you haven't seen any return. Like eventually the money dries up. So
Oh yeah.
uh, you know,
Well, and that's another thing that they're worried about because the investors are getting irritated and they're like, well, we may not give you any more money if we don't see results.
yeah, yeah. And like making a game, and I don't think people realize this, making a game is like one of the hardest things to do. And making a good
I wouldn't
game,
do it.
yeah, I wouldn't either. Like making like we talk about, oh well, they didn't do a good job, or these are problems and all of that. It's easy to be a
Yeah.
critic of something more than it is to create something.
Oh, 100%.
So like, that being said, it's already difficult making a game, and then you have someone that is running the ship that is so scattered. And it's like, I think he sounds more uh off the land than the guy over at Dying Light has been. I'm just saying, like, at
Yeah.
least their game is going to be put out next month.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what I was going to say. At least they have a vision for their game and
Yeah.
they put it out relatively soon.
Yeah. Speaking of a game that is fixing to come out, this was kind of a surprise. Tom
Yeah.
Clancy's Rainbow Six Extraction launching day one on Game Pass, and Ubisoft Plus will be coming to Xbox. Ooh.
Speaking of things we're about to critique, now, and let me clear the air on this one. So, I've seen some people out there, not in our little corner of the universe,
Mhm.
but some people out there think that Ubisoft Plus will be part of Game Pass, like how EA Play is.
Yeah.
It is not going to be part of Game Pass. It's just going to be, you can buy the subscription on Xbox, because Ubisoft Plus was just available on the PC side of things, but now it's going to come to Xbox, but you have to pay another subscription. Will it eventually be integrated into Game Pass? Probably,
Yeah.
but that's a wait and see.
Yeah.
Now, so Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Extraction is launching on January 20th, and today Ubisoft announced that it will hit Xbox Game Pass on day one. The company also announced that its own Xbox Pass-like service, Game Pass-like service, Ubisoft Plus, will come to Xbox as well. Ubisoft first teased today's Xbox-related news on Twitter before revealing shortly after that the next entry in the very popular Rainbow Six series. Extraction will be on Game Pass and Game Pass for PC on the game's launch date of January 20th. Thanks to Ubisoft Plus 2, players will soon be able to play more than 100 Ubisoft games, including DLC for new titles and classics like Assassin's Creed, as well as receive unique rewards like customization items, boosters, and other in-game perks, and probably soon crypto and NFTs. But anyway, Ubisoft is already available on Stadia, Amazon Luna, and PC, so if you're curious to check out the service before it hits Xbox, head to one of those platforms and give it a try. On top of all this, Ubisoft is teasing other Game Pass editions from the company in the future. Perhaps Assassin's Creed Infinity will launch day one on Xbox Game Pass when that rumored game is released. Quote, by making Rainbow Six Extraction available on Xbox Game Pass and PC Game Pass, members on the day and date of its launch, we're demonstrating that we believe in the value and choice that game subscriptions offers to players. Says Ubisoft Vice President of Strategic Partnerships and Business Development, Chris Early, said in a press release, quote, Rainbow Six Extraction for Xbox Game Pass and PC Game Pass members is just the beginning. Ultimately, we will offer the Ubisoft Plus subscription service to Xbox owners so that they can enjoy the full extent of our Ubisoft Plus game library, including new releases on their consoles. So here's where I get into the critique. And I want to get your opinion because I've had coworkers on both sides give me, both sides of the argument. We've looked at, for like the last 10 months, this game has gone through changes, right? Like, of course, it was Rainbow Six Quarantine, then COVID happened, and then, to be more like sensitive and, caring, they changed it to Extraction. Then they delayed it 2 months before the September release date indefinitely.
Mm-hmm.
Then they gave it a January release date. And then when they said January, they dropped the price by $20 to $40 or $50 for the deluxe edition. And now, 2 weeks before the game drops, because it's 2 weeks from today that this game is out. They say it's going to be coming to Game Pass on day one. Now, of course, with any kind of partnerships or like this, you got to wait till the ink dries before you can say anything, about the, because if you don't put pen to paper, it's not official yet.
Yeah.
So I get that part. But does this worry you that this game is not going to live up to expectations? Because I've had coworkers on one side say, well, they're trying to do, because of what's happened internally, like the goings on behind the
Mm-hmm.
scenes, like like Activision style stuff, that they're trying to appeal to consumers and basically trying to oh, please, play our game. We still want you to. Let's make it cheaper. Let's put it on Game Pass for PC and Xbox owners, so that way you don't have to pay an extra. You don't have to pay a dime for it. Um, but on the other hand, like me and my manager are on the mindset that it's like maybe they don't believe in this game as much as we thought they did. Like if they're dropping the price already, like months before release, and they're putting it on Game Pass 2 weeks before release, that tells me that we should be worried about this game, and it may not, like, I was on the fence whether to get it on Xbox, but now since I have Game Pass, I'll play it regardless just because I don't have to spend any extra money. But this has me worried about this game. After seeing this, what are your thoughts on the state of this game?
Well, Brandon Hicks, the salty Santa first mate himself, wrote in and says, nowadays, what game is actually released to our expectations? One, I
Uh,
100% agree. Like, hardly any live service game released to expectations. Halo has done a really good job, but
I was gonna say,
Halo has went through, like, 343 has changed a lot of things since the launch of its beta. They are listening. Back to your concerns, your thoughts and everything. If it was to, let's say, kind of, y'all forgive us for, all the misconduct on our business and everything, they would have released Far Cry 6 at a cheaper price.
good point.
That would have been, because that's a much bigger thing than Rainbow Six. I'm gonna just say it right here. Like,
Yeah,
Extraction is going to come out and it is going to be hot garbage. I'm going to tell you right now, it is going to be hot garbage. And they'll give, 6 months roadmap, and then I think this game will go away, and then they will go back to supporting fully Rainbow Six Siege. I
right.
think they're going to pivot pretty hard and fast away from this thing. They've put a ton of money into it. They're just trying to get some money back out of their investment. And I don't think this thing is going to last very long. And, it dropping, price and now coming to Game Pass. They're trying to shore up. Okay, we invested X amount of dollars. So we
Hmm.
need to get X amount of dollars back. Okay,
Yeah,
we're gonna go to Xbox and say, hey, we would like to put this on Game Pass. How much would you give it to us? And they say, okay, we'll give
yeah,
you this much. All right, boom. That takes a bunch of pressure off of them. It's like, okay, now they already dropped it down $20 less. It's like, okay, now people that played Siege are gonna buy this. They're gonna try it,
yeah.
and then they're gonna be very disappointed. I feel this right now. I feel like this is gonna be
What?
one of those
Oh, and
things.
another thing, because they said when they drop the price that you also get a buddy pass in the
Hmm.
game. You can let up to two friends play it. It's like a squad of three, so it's
Yeah.
like you're already losing money by dropping it $20, and now you're going to lose even more money by letting two players get it for free.
Yeah, and I'm
Like,
curious, like with Game Pass, if you get it through Game Pass, do you get a buddy
yeah.
pass as well? So it's like somebody
Oh,
that
that's a
doesn't
good
have,
question.
Game Pass, you have two buddy passes and everything. I'm not sure
Yeah,
how that's going to work and all of that, but I feel like, Ubisoft has the kind of track record where they will release a game like For Honor. For Honor came out and it had its base and everything, but it didn't do too well until they started updating and pushing it really hard. And then it turned into a
yeah,
really good game. Same thing with Rainbow Six Siege. It was not great at launch. It was not.
yeah,
And then they pushed it, and then it became something where people really wanted to play it. And I feel like in this day and age, post Cyberpunk 2077, you don't really have that much room to wiggle around and everything. And they've got to realize that people
yeah.
people are becoming less and less willing to give people
Patient.
give the chance and everything. So I think they're walking on thin ice with this game
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, especially after the whole NFT thing, the blockchain games. Like I know it's not just them. I know EA, and
Square,
one.
my God.
Yeah, Square. It's in I think the Quickies or whatever. But yeah, the Square's getting into it too, and it's like, good lord, like especially with what like the future of Ubisoft. I know they try and jump on trends, but before they get big or
Hmm.
before it decides if it's going to survive or fail. But my goodness, like this, I don't know, like. I don't think this is off to like Far Cry 6 was a good release. But I think going forward we're gonna have to really temper expectations with what Ubisoft puts out.
Yeah, 100%. And like we've gotten good games, but I feel like um they're gonna use the pandemic as an excuse for bad games that they're gonna release 100%.
Yeah.
And try to roadmap it and try to get as much money out. So as we've said before, and I know a lot of people that we listen to as well, vote with your wallet, vote with
Yeah.
your time as well. Like if you've got Game Pass and you're not sure that this is going to be a good game, don't play it.
Yeah. Like I'll try it on Game Pass. Like Game Pass is the greatest trial version you could ever get.
Yep.
I know you have to pay for it, but you get hundreds of games on there as opposed to just trial for one.
Hmm.
But I'll give it a shot on opening weekend, and if it doesn't hold my attention, like because I was going to get into like when we were discussing Halo earlier, like for me, when a game gives me like it gives me that itch where I want to go keep playing it, go back and keep playing it. To me, that's a good game because it's worth investing my time. It's giving me a reason to turn on my system and play. And if this doesn't scratch that itch, then see ya.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Now, let's move on into some stuff that CES was this past weekend, and
Yeah,
our buddies over at PlayStation revealed some very interesting stuff. So, first off, in our PlayStation news segment, PlayStation VR2 and VR2 Sense controller specifications, there we go, have been revealed. So, let's jump into that.
man. For the first PlayStation news segment of the year, we're starting off with a banger right here.
Hmm.
So we've seen all the patents, we've heard all the rumors, and now Sony, the to start the year, has made it official. Sony isn't wasting any time with starting to talk about PlayStation VR2 now that we're in 2022. Like for example, that's the official title of what we've all been calling PSVR2 up until now. It's the next generation VR for PS5 consoles with a single cord setup. Wow, one cord! Holy
Yeah.
cow, that's already a big
Yeah.
improvement. Among other features, which have all been detailed in the most recent PlayStation blog post after their announcement at CES. The controllers, which we all saw some time ago, are called PlayStation VR2 Sense controllers, which falls in line with the DualSense on PS5. Some of the standout features are, in fact, that the headset will output 4K HDR with a 110-degree field of view. The display within the headset is an OLED, and players can expect smooth frame rates up to 120 Hz. That's impressive
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Uh, PSVR 2 also removes the need for an external camera with headset-based controller tracking. PSVR 2 even has eye tracking to allow for even a simple look to be used as an extra input. You can check out the full list of specifications for the PSVR 2 and the PlayStation VR 2 Sense controllers yourself here. We're not going to get into all the specifics, but it's just that. Like, of course, the communication is going to be Bluetooth, built-in lithium ion rechargeable battery for the controllers. It's going to have 6-axis motion sensing for the controllers. So, like, just skimming this, the biggest thing to me, no external camera for the headset.
Yeah.
Because my lord,
Hmm.
like, and the one cable, because like when I played it at a buddy's house, I felt like I was plugged into the Matrix with all the freaking cords that
Yeah.
had to go into the TV and the PlayStation, and like it would limit my field of view. It felt like,
Yeah.
and then like having like, of course, any PlayStation VR bundle you got came with a camera, but it always felt like the camera was unnecessary.
Yeah.
And the fact of they finally got rid of these motion controllers that they tried to push on us back in the
Yes.
PS3 with the stupid what was it? The Book of
Mhm.
Spells.
Yeah. Yep.
That was a terrible
Ooh.
demo. And then the fact of they tried to justify it through the VR. The fact that they are getting rid of those makes me happy.
Well, and it being dual sense because, like, anytime anyone talks about PlayStation 5, shout out Dan actually snagged him a PS5. So he's going to be able to, yeah. Target had a bunch of them, and he was able to grab one.
Wow.
But
Welcome to the future.
I know. It's exciting. More and more people getting it. But the the thing that really like shoots out to me on this is like the dual sense is like one of the greatest features of the PlayStation 5. Yeah, the graphics look great, all of these things look great, but when you get down to it, it's like the controller really brings you into it. So having that
Yeah.
haptic feedback in the move sense or whatever they're calling the controllers, um it's going to be nice. It's really going to be nice because
Yeah.
like that's one of the greatest things. Like you'll be playing and it's like you can feel the footsteps, you can feel the music like in Ratchet and Clank. You can feel like
Yeah.
the web shooting out when you're playing Miles Morales. It's like
Mhm.
all those little details, and having that in a VR experience is going to be awesome. It being down to one chord is great. I would love no chords, but one chord is better than none. I mean, one
Exactly.
chord is better than the tangle. And it's like the headset was super heavy. Like
Oh
the
yeah.
PSVR headset was super heavy. So like it being, it seems like it's gonna be lighter. The camera was just crap. Let's just
Yeah.
say it's like because we had the original PlayStation camera, which I think was better than the one that they put out later with the PSVR. So like,
Yeah.
we're getting, advances on this, and I'm glad, and I hope. I didn't see it in that list with the audio and everything. It says like headphone jack, built-in microphone output, stereo headphone jack. I hope that they make it um where it has like Bluetooth where you can have uh AirPods like in your ears. That would make it so much
Right.
lighter than like having to have
Yeah.
like hook a, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to be playing with
Yeah.
these on, or like it'd be nice. It'd be nice to have that, or like a blue built-in speakers, for
Yeah.
it or something. Um but yeah, like I'm excited. I like, hey, we're living in the future, baby. We're living in the future.
Exactly.
But my next question, my next thing, is it's
Mhm.
like, okay, we're getting the PSVR2, PlayStation
Yeah.
VR2, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
Do you think this is going to make manufacturing harder for PlayStation? Do you think this is going to take away from building PS5s?
I mean, they use different as long as they don't use the same chipset, we should be good. Like
Hmm.
the problem is going to be if it only plays on PS5, which it seems like it will, especially with the controllers they're making for
Yep.
it. If they're using it based on the DualSense technology, it's probably going to only work on PS5.
Yeah.
The problem is going to be run into are you going to find more VR headsets than you will PS5s? Like I
Mm.
know there's millions of PS5s in the wild now, and I know we're slowly getting to a point where a lot more stores are getting them in. Like it's more of a it's like for the last 4 or 5 months, it feels like
Yeah.
there's been a slow like snowball down the hill of like constant stores getting in constant stock. Like
Yeah.
maybe it's not as much as people. Obviously, it's never going to
Yeah.
meet demand,
Yeah.
but it seems like it's more readily available than anything. Um, but will it be one of those things where you walk into a store and it's like, I want a PS5. Well, we don't have that, but we have the PSVR2. Like, are we gonna like is it gonna be one of those where
You can't
like
use it
on
without it,
Xbox,
but
right? Right. But is it going to be like, you can find a Series S easier than you can find a
yeah.
Series X? Will it be one of those scenarios?
Yeah.
Like, will there be an oversaturation of VR2 headsets?
Yeah, I think that might be more the case. Hopefully, it doesn't detract from the production of PlayStation 5s. I
No,
it for
I I don't think so. I think they have a different team to develop VRs and then different team to work on PlayStation 5
yeah,
consoles.
100%. But I always you got to look at both sides of the coin.
Yeah, fair
Sometimes
enough.
you make parts. It's like, oh well, this word's off of this, blah blah blah, so it communicates better. And then you come into the point where it's like, oh, well, this needs that part, so we have to cannibalize. Rob Peter to pay Paul.
Right.
And it's like, let's.
It's like what was it? The Oh, what am I thinking of? It was like some movie or TV show where it's like you see like the robots making it and they like destroy one robot to be able to make parts for this new robot that they're making.
I don't remember. I don't remember.
It'll come to me at some point.
But continuing on with our PlayStation VR2, there's a rumor that it will start shipping in Q2 2022, according to a Taiwanese Apple analyst.
So I don't have an article with it, but like it just basically says the bare minimum. Like they speculate. Now, before, like, I don't think this is. I think they might start developing them in Q2,
Mhm.
but I don't think they'll. Now, of course, with businesses, it depends on what version of Q2 you're talking about. Because in the traditional Q2 sense, Q2 is between April and June.
Yeah,
Um, Now with businesses, they have different fiscal years. Like I think
yeah,
Sony's theirs ends in March 31st, and their new year begins April 1st every year. So if they're going by their Q2,
yeah,
then that'll hit between July and September for their Q2. So that I would believe,
yeah,
like maybe
yeah.
like an early fall release, I could see that. But if we're going by the traditional Q2 sense, it's not going to be ready in 3 to 5 months. Let's not even kid ourselves. Like I highly even doubt it hits this year to begin with.
Yeah.
But re, I would believe easier that it would become more later in the fall than I would in summer.
Yeah, I think fall, like, you get that Christmas rush and everything. It's like, oh, well, I bought you a PlayStation VR2. It's like, I don't even have a
Yeah.
PlayStation 5, mom. It's like, well, I got it for you. It's like everybody gets, when the Switch came out, everybody got Breath of the Wild, but no, no Switch.
Right, right. Oh,
Murdoch writes in, says, as I said, VR is the next gen. And I think, like with the Oculus 2, the Quest 2, people are really starting to see like the power of VR.
yeah.
But I do think that, once we start seeing entertainment like really take VR and like bolster it, I think then we will start seeing, some really interesting things. And my next question for you, and we'll wrap this up, it'll be quick for this. Do you think
Okay.
PlayStation, this moves into the next one pretty well.
Okay.
Do you think that they're going to continue to put AAA games out for PlayStation VR, or do you think that they will do what they always do, and if they don't see the numbers there, they move on pretty quickly?
Well, I mean, it depends because obviously VR1 sold enough to make a VR2,
Hmm.
but we didn't really say. I mean, it depends on what you consider AAA because we got like, of course, the Batman Arkham VR. We didn't really see a lot of exclusives like Astro Boy
Hmm.
was the best one you could argue on the VR. Of course, there was Farpoint. There's one I'm forgetting. Blood and Truth was really good. So the AAA releases, especially from a first party standpoint, were very sparse,
Yep.
in my opinion. So I want to like, how about this? Will we see more AAA? Depends. Again, because we saw a lot of great AAA things come to the Vita, but then Sony gave up like first party support they got the cord way too soon before, in my
Hmm.
opinion. Will they do that again with VR2, or like will they barely support it? Like I want to see more from Sony side rather than just if it be a AAA title.
Yeah, I agree. We need first party support. And speaking of first party support for the PlayStation VR2, Horizon Call of the Mountain. Hello, hello. Has been announced for
It's
the
me.
PlayStation VR2 and has been revealed. And Horizon Call of the Mountain will change what AAA means for VR, says ex Guerrilla Game Dev.
And so, like, and this ties going back to the VR2 announcement and going into this Horizon Call of the Mountain announcement. We covered this over the course of last year. We saw all the patents, we saw all the rumors, so far all of it's being ended up being true. Now this is being developed by Firesprite, which they recently acquired a few
Mhm.
months ago, and they said that they were going to help with ports and help with other first party support. They were going to be like the Gopher studio, like whatever you need us to do, we're going to help here when needed. And their specialty was like ports and in like other tech. So they're making this, and we saw the rumors, like we knew that Gorilla was working on another project, and now Fire Sprite's the helm of it. But they said it was also another type of Horizon project that we could see, and now we know it's a VR game, because I forget what my initial reaction was when it was said that it could be a VR game, but I felt like my reaction wasn't positive. It's like an open world RPG game in a VR. I don't know how that's going to go over, but it remains to be seen. But Horizon Call of the Mountain is a new PSVR2 game from Guerrilla Games and Fire Sprite Studios, and it was just revealed during CES 2022. In its first official PSVR2 game, it's the first official PSVR2 game we know about, and the first one to come directly from PlayStation Studios. The announcement also came with a short teaser and a message from Guerrilla Games studio director Jean-Bart Van Beek. While the official announcement has finally come, it's worth noting that news of a Horizon-based PSVR2 title first appeared back in September of 2021. And of course, there's a teaser trailer, but it's mainly him talking and then like showing just a snippet of footage. But you're on a boat, you wake up, just to give you a basic rundown.
It's
a new character.
It's T-Pain there.
I don't know what T-Pain has to do with this, but no, he is not there.
I'm on a boat. Lonely Island song. Anyway.
Go ahead. Okay. Anyway, but you wake up and you talk to this guy, and it's a new character that you're playing as. It's not Aloy. They did kind of hint at that you might see characters from Horizon pop up in there, but you're not playing as Aloy. And then of course it cuts to like the big scene of like a tall neck walking, and then it's coming across your river path, and it's like, oh, it's coming toward us, and you see the foot come across your face or whatever. So it's let me finish the article first, then I'll get into my thoughts. It's not very telling in terms of what the gameplay will be like, but it says wonders about the kinds of visuals we can expect. PSVR 2 already looks like an amazing jump from the current gen PSVR, and it's exciting to see Sony continue to push for innovation within this space. While we don't know anything more about Horizon Call of the Mountain, it would be a fair guess to say it'll launch alongside the PSVR 2 whenever that is. Sony also revealed, okay, and then it gets into the announcement.
By the way,
and then
it's PlayStation VR2, not PSVR 2.
Well, I'm reading what the article says.
No, it literally says PlayStation VR2.
When you follow the next article, it says PSVR 2. Anyway, let me get into the next one where it says it'll change what you're playing for VR. And it's funny that it comes from an ex-Guerrilla Games dev, by the way, that says this. A former dev at Guerrilla Games has heaped praise on the upcoming Horizon Call of the Mountain, suggesting it will, quote, change what AAA means for VR. The latest entry in the Horizon franchise was announced this week at CES 2022 by Sony's Jim Ryan, and will be coming to the, what is that? PSVR2, it says in the article, sir. We've heard rumblings about a Horizon VR game for a while now, but it's only now that we have confirmation. Following the announcement, Chris James took to Twitter to hype up Guerrilla Games and Fire Sprite Studios' highly anticipated project. In the tweet, he says, "This has been in the works for a while. I didn't work on it, but I promise you this will change what AAA means for VR. It's amazing." Few details are currently known about Horizon Call of the Mountain, although it's encouraging to see that PSVR2, again in the article, will receive support from one of PlayStation's major franchises before a release date. Hold on, I just lost my place. From a PSVR2, let's see, before a release date for the device is even locked down. So, and it's an exciting time for Horizon fans as Guerrilla Games is working on, of course, Horizon Forbidden West. All right, so going off of that, like I don't know if you saw the trailer, but like I said, it's mainly the guy who's directing it. Like, it's him talking for like the first minute, 20 seconds, and then like the last 30 seconds, it's like gameplay. I still like it looks really good. Like compared to like the first wave of VR games we got from the PSVR 1. It looked really good. But in terms of gameplay, that's where it's going to matter, because yes, I see you highlighting PlayStation VR2 controller, sir. But if you go back to the article I just read, it says PSVR 2.
Literally the first one, it was like,
We're both right. We can both be
No,
right. It's
no,
okay. It's
no, it's not.
okay.
There can only
um,
be one. Highlander, baby. Highlander.
but
You know I gotta bust your
but no,
chops, buddy.
I know. It's okay. But the gameplay is going to be the factor in this. And again, like I know it was just a snippet. I
Mhm.
get that, but it still feels like it's an experience rather
Yeah,
than a game. And that's what was
yeah.
my knock on the first generation of VR
Mhm.
was they were more experiences than games. And
Yep.
to me, the first outing does not promise that it's going to be any different.
Yeah, like that was my biggest thing. It's like, it just feels like we're going through a theme park. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean that we're going to actually get to interact. It doesn't like we're going to actually feel like we're changing the world, anything. Like we're affecting what's going on in the game other than just being on rails like an old video
Yeah.
game. So like hey, I'm glad that the lenses are 4K and they're 120
Yeah.
hertz. Like that's huge. That's huge. That's big. But it's like it comes down to you can have all this great tech, but do you have the games to push it forward?
Right, and that's going to be the key. I know I keep hitting a sore subject here, but it's exactly like the Vita. The tech in the Vita was ahead of its time. It was great. It was phenomenal. It felt like a next gen hardware thing, but they didn't have the games to support it. Now they made the games toward the end of the cycle, but when it was too late, and Sony had to cut the cord, so they waited too long. So with this one, you can put all the tech, you can make
Hmm.
it down to one wire, you can do all this, but at the end of the day, if you don't have the games to support it, no one's going to play it. It's exactly like the Wii U. The Wii U had fantastic games, but because it was such a weird system,
Yeah.
no one played them.
Yeah.
That's why they had to port majority of them to the Switch.
Yeah. 100%. So, hopefully we'll see, first party support because like looking at the Vita, because it's still alive, um, in my heart at least.
I was going to say,
Like Geo Corsi had to do so much work to get third party developers to make games
yeah,
for it because first party wasn't doing their job.
nope,
And it's like you look at it, it's like they started off like one of the best Uncharted games is on the Vita. Like
Mhm.
Golden Abyss is
Yeah,
amazing, but then like as you go, like it was just not there. And I hope that, because you can also see that with PlayStation VR, like the first one. Um, it's like you started out with some stuff, but then third parties had to carry the torch through the rest of the cycle and everything.
Mhm.
So you can only port Beat Saber and Super Hot to so many things.
Right. I don't know, man. Like Bethesda's ports Skyrim and re-releases it like every couple of years, like on multiple consoles. So I mean, if they can do it, why can't they?
Well, you're not going to be able to play Doom VR because Xbox is like they're not sharing
Right.
anything anymore. But let's move on to some more big Sony news. New patent for PlayStation points to a coaching system for players, and we've talked sort of about this before
Yeah.
about a coaching system and everything.
Yeah. Again, we've talked about this before. Like it was more of like a tutoring system, but we'll get. Oh, real quick, my mind just wondered like when you brought up Geo Corsi. Um, like I imagine him being like Thanos from the end credit scene of Avengers: Age of Ultron when he grabs the Infinity Gauntlets. Like, fine, I'll do it myself. Like
Yeah,
Geo just grabbing the Vitas. Like, I'll put games on there myself.
pretty much,
Um,
pretty much.
um, but getting back to the patent, PlayStation, like any hardware or software manufacturer, patents plenty of ideas and potential tech that either gets used or doesn't. It's a part of the way things work, but that's not likely the case for the most recent PlayStation patent. In fact, it's likely we will see something like this implemented, as it follows a pattern of recent patents made by PlayStation. It seems like Sony is working on a new system to coach players, helping them to develop skills to improve their gameplay. It's a step further from the hint system we currently have, which can be great for puzzles, but can seldom help with difficult combat encounters. For example, while it is definitely helpful to show a boss's weakness in Demon Souls, that doesn't mean you won't die the next time you fight it or still find the encounter difficult. Providing players with an in-game system that can directly help them learn how to play better is really an incredible idea. This patent, in fact, can be an evolution of a previously filed patent which would connect users with expert players live for advice of their respective game. Having the expert players provide the tips, drills, and fundamental knowledge while PlayStation creates an overlay that works within the system's UI could be a perfect marriage of resources. Whatever this ends up becoming, it's at least exciting to see PlayStation continue to explore how to make games more accessible for players without having them put down the controller. So my takeaway is like this is the second time it seems
Hmm.
like this is an evolved version of that patent, like it says in here. If this was just a one-time thing, or like if this is the first time we were seeing it, we could be like, all right, maybe they'll do it. They even say it's like a lot of times some patents never see the light of day. However, if we're seeing like a second version of the same patent put in,
Yeah,
I think it's safe to say that they're actually going to go forward with this idea. It's just a matter of when they decide to implement it.
100%. It being talked about more and more definitely gives it more credence. Um,
Hmm.
but we'll wait for the Clearwater to revive our hopes and dreams for this.
Yeah.
I was making a Clearwater revival joke. If you didn't get that,
Oh, I didn't. I'm sorry. It went over me like the cow jumped over the moon. I'm sorry.
but like I'm wondering how this system is going to work. Is it a paid system? Is it something that they include as like a quality of life?
That's going to be a thing. That's going to be my question too, especially if they get experts to come
Mhm.
in here. Like
Yep,
they're going to want to be compensated for their time,
yep, yep,
especially if they
yep.
get like I'm not saying they would get these caliber of players in here, but let's just say Ninja, right? Very good Fortnite player, probably good at Valorant or whatever the popular multiplayer game is. If they get Ninja to do a thing, he's going to want money for this. Like, let's just be fair. Like, so I want to see
Oh
if
yeah,
it'll be interesting if they do a subscription service based off this.
yeah. I don't know. Maybe they tie it into like PlayStation Plus. Something.
Whatever Spartacus or whatever that like trademark
Yep,
is that they're
yep.
planning for the future.
Yeah, so we might see something on that end of things, but hey, it looks like it's going to be more of a thing than we originally thought about.
Yeah.
And something where people thought it was going to be more to the thing than it was. Speaking of that, Days Gone director said that it sold more than Ghost of Tsushima, but it was still viewed as a big disappointment by Sony.
So this came out in the last couple days, and it was interesting. So spoilers for the one of the PlayStation Quickies: Ghost of Tsushima has passed 8 million units sold, which I know excites you to know it
Hmm.
to no end, Zach. But now, like the Days Gone director has come out and said, like, look, we actually sold more. Now, let's get into this. Days Gone has sold at least 9 million copies, according to its director. Yesterday, Game Informer reported that Sucker Punch Productions' 2020 samurai game, Ghost of Tsushima, had sold more than 8 million copies. Quite the feat, especially for a new IP from the developer. According to former Days Gone director Jeff Ross, the Pacific Northwest zombie title sold even more copies than Ghost of Tsushima. But instead of the warm reception Ghost of Tsushima received for its sales, PlayStation viewed it as a, quote, big disappointment. Quote, at the time I left Sony in December of 2020, Days Gone had been out for a year and a half and a month and sold over 8 million copies, Ross wrote in a quote tweet of Game Informer's Ghost of Tsushima story about its latest sales milestone. Quote, it's gone on to sell more and then a million plus on Steam. Local studio management always made us feel like it was a big disappointment. At the time I left Sony,
Here, just read that
okay,
again.
that's yep. This isn't a necessarily surprising sentiment from Ross, as others have pointed out Sony and PlayStation's awkward PR play for the game. As noted by Benji Sales, a popular video game sales and business analyst on Twitter, back in January of 2020, Days Gone was the best-selling PS4 exclusive on PSN in 2019, and it also held a spot in the top 10 best-selling digital games for the entire year. Benji Sales even joked that, quote, Sony won't do PR on the sales success of the game, but it'll keep pointing it out for them. But I'll keep pointing it out for them. Back in April of 2021, Ross alluded to the fact that Days Gone did not make enough money to greenlight the sequel Ben pitched to PlayStation, but he also shared some details on what Days Gone 2 would have been. Ross had expressed his disappointment in the lack of further Days Gone development. There's probably something to be said of Ross's departure from the studio following the release of Days Gone, which he's now revealed was viewed by local management, likely local Sony and PlayStation management, as a, quote, big disappointment. The former Ben director touched further on his initial tweet in the reply section, revealing that he's, quote, not sure if current Ben developers are unhappy with management. In reply to someone asking if that's the case, Ross said, Quote, in my case, there were years of issues to work through. He also revealed that the lack of official sales discussion from Sony and a possible sequel, quote, wasn't ever explained well. Citing in a different tweet that despite that, former Sony Interactive Entertainment Worldwide Studios chairman Sean Layden, who left the company in 2019, was, quote, was Days Gone and Ben's, quote, biggest advocate. Layden even replied to Ross's tweet last night, which you can see below, which he congratulates them and he'll never forget the launch day of that game. Elsewhere in Ross's tweet replies, the Days Gone director reveals that developing Days Gone was not an easy task. Quote, development was a long slog, but we were a small team learning how to make our first open world game. All things considered, it's amazing we finished it all. Ross also notes that just because Days Gone didn't review as well as Bend, and perhaps Sony and PlayStation might have liked, the potential for a, quote, kick-butt sequel was there. He noted that the first Killzone got a 70 on Metacritic, but that its sequel roared back with a 91. Ben was planning to raise eyebrows with a sequel much in the same way. He said, citing that you gotta crawl before you can walk, and walk before you can run. Ross tweets are a fascinating look at how PlayStation views its IP, or rather perhaps how important critical reception is to a game's success. Considering Days Gone has sold more than Ghost of Tsushima, the biggest difference between the release of both is the reviews. Days Gone got a 71 on Metacritic, excuse me, a review aggregate site, and Ghost of Tsushima has an 83. As for why Sony and PlayStation view Ghost of Tsushima a success and Days Gone a big disappointment will likely continue to remain a mystery. So there was a lot to unpack there. And at first, when you see Jeff Ross tweet about this, it almost comes off as sour grapes. Like, oh, you left the studio. Like the game wasn't as great as you saw, as it was meant to be. Blah blah blah. You're just crapping on Ghost of Tsushima's success. But when you look at the numbers, and when you see and especially Sean Layden being the biggest advocate, again, I wonder if the upper management, not listening to him being championing this game, or certain games that he went to bat for, is played into another reason why he left. And it's also another black eye on Jim Ryan, because it's all right, so what is it? Are you more worried about how much the game sells, or are you worried about what the reviews say? Because like it said in the numbers, Days Gone has outsold Tsushima by 1 million, but yet because of that 71 Metacritic, it's a disappointment. Which some games would love a 71 on Metacritic.
Yeah.
I'm sure Cyberpunk would kill for a 71 on Metacritic. Well, at least the console versions. But yeah, at first blush, you would think he's just being sour, but when it breaks it down, it's like Sony did him dirty on this, and I'm sure that played a big part to where him and I think Jeff Garvin was the other person who was head of it. They both left.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's a big reason why they both left. What is your take on all this?
Well, real quick, I want to pull up Murdoch's. He
Yeah.
wrote into the chat. It says blah blah blah. Ghost is still better. I have not personally played Days Gone, but
Yeah.
here's my take on this. Okay, Bend might have sold 9 million. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll get to that here in a second. But look at the concept that they are trying to sell. Okay,
Mhm.
It is a zombie game that's open world.
Mm-hmm.
And look at all the things that show that this is going to be a success. You've got Walking Dead, you've got Last of Us, you've got Sons of Anarchy, which all of these things are kind of melded into this game. And it's like, okay, all of these are great, things, and we're going to put them into a video game. Okay. Sony's like, this is a surefire thing. Look at Last of Us. Last of Us has made a ton of money for us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes, this is their first open world game. And guess what? The 2 games that Ben made before this, guess what they were? They were 2 Vita games, Uncharted Golden Abyss and Uncharted Fight for Fortune. I did not play Fight for Fortune, but Golden Abyss was great. It was not an open world game. But as I say that, this was coming off of something that makes sense. Now, why I say that is, look at Sucker Punch on the other hand. They're like, hey, we want to make a samurai game.
Okay.
After making superhero games for so long.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's like, well, we'll let you try that, but we're not expecting a ton out of you. Because,
Yeah.
if you look at it, samurai games weren't selling like hotcakes right then. Guess what was selling
Yeah.
like hotcakes? Zombie games.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, to take that all into consideration, the game launched in April 26, 2019. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's went from then till now to sell 9 million. All right.
Yeah.
That's great. I am so excited for them. And that sounds kind of like sarcastic, but
Yeah.
how many times has Days gone on sale where it's been like $15, or you
Fair
get it
point.
with PlayStation Plus, or you get it with
Hmm.
this, or you can get it on sale on Steam? It's been time and time again. Guess what game has not went on sale, Derek? Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima has not went on sale, so every time it's bought, the 8 million times has been at the original price point.
Yeah.
Which one is going to be making more money? Ghost. Which one was not, like, yeah, you think Ghost is going to be good, but you're not putting all your eggs in that basket because it's an untried thing.
Yeah.
It's an untried thing. But hey, this zombie game, it sounds, like it's right in line with all of these things. Sony should have said, no, you can't make that right now because we've got Last of Us. They should have
Yeah.
said that. It did not, because people were confused. People were like, is this
Yeah.
tie into Last of Us? No, it doesn't tie into Last of Us at all. But
Yeah.
why I'm saying all of that is, you look at this and it's like, well, this should be a surefire thing. This should be a surefire thing with all the success of zombie stuff. Samurai game, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Yeah. So, okay, and by no means, like, comparatively, yes, Ghost is a much better game than Days Gone. I'm not
Mhm.
going to argue that. I'm not going to try and champion Days Gone as like a better game than it got credit for. I'm not going to do that. But what I will play devil's advocate for the argument. Like, I know you said, like the genre they decided to delve in was
Mm.
more hot, was selling on hotcakes, and um, the samurai genre was not. However, like they said in the article, um, like this was their first open world venture that they decided to go into, and I think they deserved a second shot. Whereas Sucker Punch has, like, they did three infamous games. Four infamous games if you want to include First Light. So they've had a lot of time to work on open world games and perfect it to where the love child was Ghost. So they've had a lot of time to experience that and polish it and learn from their past mistakes. Ben did not have that. They worked on handheld games before then. And then Sony's like, we want you to work on a console game. Now, did they overshoot from the stars by, like you said, putting in all this melding pot of Sons, Walking Dead, Last of Us? Probably. You're probably right. But to go to Jeff Ross's point, like, in terms of the Metacritic score, like, I played the first Killzone. It was trash. Like, it was the run of the mill, by the number shooter. But then when Killzone 2 came out, it was leaps and bounds better. They learned from it.
Yeah.
So, am I saying that did they underachieve with Days Gone, the first Days Gone? Yes. But do they deserve a second shot like how Guerrilla Games got a second shot with Killzone? By all means, they should have. So, and again, does it come down, which is it? Because you can't have it both ways. Does it come down to sales or does it come down to Metacritic score? Because like Jeff Ross points out, the first Killzone got thrashed on Metacritic, but then they came back with a 91 for Killzone 2. Now, Metacritic is not end all be all
Yeah.
for most people, but in this case, Sony used it as a thing to not do a sequel to Days Gone.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying they would have come out and like the Days Gone 2 would have gotten in the 90s. I'm not saying that, but they at least deserved a second shot.
Well, I'm going to get to that point here in a second. There's actually 5 infamous games if you're counting Last Light as one. There's also Festival of Blood in there. Murdoch's like, money talks, right? If a game doesn't make money, it's considered a failure. And I will point this out real quick, okay? You're looking back like early 2000s with Killzone, okay?
Yeah.
This is a different time. One,
I mean, yeah.
you know what I mean? Jim Ryan came into a position, and I call Jim Ryan out on his stuff all the time. So this is not me, but Jim Ryan came into a position where and I love Sean Layden, I love I love Shuhei, okay? But they let things go on too long. Media Molecule. They didn't want
Yeah,
another thing where it's not going to make money. They cannot be in the game of not making money. They are a business. And it's like,
yeah,
yes, it is art, but it is also a business. You have to make money. And it's like you look at Days Gone, and yes, now it sold 9 million. But how many did it sell within its first year? How many did it sell within its first 2 months? I don't really remember because I don't think I was looking at
yeah,
numbers then. But it's like, okay, this game is not selling well, and you're trying to pitch me on another game that's in this universe and it didn't sell well. And we've got Media Molecule over here sucking up all the oxygen. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm not gonna let the studio make another game that's not going to do this well, you know.
yeah,
And that, I think that's where, you know, you look at Jim Ryan, he's making those tough decisions to push more. And yeah, you see them pouring more money into studios that are
mhm,
successful. You look at Naughty Dog, they're beefing that thing up like, you
yeah,
know, Hulk Hogan. But it's like,
yeah,
okay, yeah, Days Gone didn't sell well. Now it sold 9 million, you know, and there are fanboys that love Days Gone, but you know, maybe down the road that might, you know, get a chance to live again. But it is what it is at this point, because
yeah,
Sony's got to make the decision and say, hey, you know, you didn't sell well, you didn't make us
yeah,
enough money, and the investment and the time, because games, it's not a quick turnaround, you know. it's
yeah.
it's
No,
it's 4 years at max, you know, at least, to make something good. And like, if you can turn around on the same engine a lot of times, but it's like, hey, you know, it's just the investment's not there, and we gotta make money off our investment, you know. So I
yeah,
think that's where it comes from. It's not just a Metacritic score, because I don't think they, yeah, they care about that, but I don't think that's the end all be all there. Because, you
yeah,
know, look at both of them. You look at Media Molecule, you look at Bend, like both of
mhm,
them, you know, were just, they were on life support.
yeah. So, but all right. So, to counterpoint that, then I'll put one more point in there, and then we can put a pin in this and move on. So the counterpoint to that is like, okay, Metacritic's not end all be all, but then which is it? Like, you can't. Obviously, I think Sony. I think at the end of the day, they just wanted to move on from Days Gone, but don't. It's again like, don't spit on me and tell me it's raining type thing, right? Like, don't tell me it's sales, but then when I meet exceeds the sales numbers, you tell me, oh, well, your Metacritic score. It's like, all right, pick one and stick with it. Just because one doesn't serve your argument, or just don't even use both. Just say, look, we don't feel like your game lived up to expectations. We're not moving on with you. Just be upfront if you're going to do that. Like, don't say one thing and tell me, because now I'm not going to trust you,
Yeah,
and now I think you're just going to give me the runaround.
yeah,
But the other counterpoint, like, and it kind of serves into both sides of this argument, right? Is like, again, yes. Now, did Shu and Sean have a track record of letting studios go on too long? Yes. Now, do I think Jim Ryan is trying to put a stamp on that?
yeah,
I agree with that, and I think that's a better thing. But I think Sean and Shuhei gave him a longer tail because they saw what teams like Gorilla, what Naughty Dog, what Insomniac, what Sucker Punch are doing, and they're like, well, if these studios can make great games, maybe we need to give these other studios time. And I'm going to be honest with you, this is going to be some tough love. You don't need to treat everyone the same.
yeah,
Like, I know it's a business. At the end of the day, it's a business. You have to
yep,
make money, or it's your job. You can't give everyone the same. It's like a football team, right? You're going to have your star player. You're going to give them different treatment than you would a fourth stringer. Why? Because they are so much better than the fourth stringer.
hmm,
And so they're going to get preferential treatment. Right or wrong, that's what has to be done. If you know what you're getting out of your top performers, you're going to let them do whatever they want to, well, within reason. You're going to give them the time they need
yeah,
to, because they can pump out consistently great games. Whereas the bottom tier ones, you kind of have to speed them up a little bit, because yeah, they could put out a great game here or there, but it's not going to be banger after banger after banger.
yeah, yeah. And you know, it goes to that point. It's like, you do have your star players, and you give people the chance, and if they don't, you know, take that chance and make the most of it, guess what? Then they don't get that full reign. Then, you know,
Right.
you got to make it, you know, work for the business. And you know, I that's case in point with Days Gone. It's
Yeah.
not saying it's not a great game, but
Yeah.
you can't just say, oh well, it sold 9 million. You've got to look into all this context to see how
Yeah.
much longer you had to sell your game and how many times did it actually go on sale and people can buy it for
Right.
$15. You know what I mean? That's my
Right.
biggest thing. It's like you can't compare apples to apples and say that it's the same as Ghost, because
Yeah.
as we both know, Ghost is king. It's king
Yeah.
in this show. It is king. I played it for 2 years. It's king.
It is your forever game club.
Yeah, exactly. About to start it again. So, uh, but let's move on, guys. This is a rumor. The Last of Us remake could be coming in 2022, along with Last of Us 2 remastered.
We've known that Naughty Dog is working on something for a while now. Neil Druckmann even just assured us that they are in fact very busy when they go to work. It's the quote what that hasn't been entirely nailed down, and the when we'll ever see these projects. According to some new reports, though, we could find out exactly what they've been up to sometime this year. Leaker Tom Henderson has once again shared his knowledge, saying that The Last of Us remake is nearly finished and could release during the later half of 2022. It goes on in the tweet to say, with TLU 2 multiplayer and TLU 2 director's cut, I've heard they are coming too, but I don't know exactly when/how. Them all releasing together could be a good compromise if God of War got delayed to Q1 2023, and that's just speculation on my end for the moment. Um, as Henderson mentions, one of the projects in the works is Factions for The Last of Us Part 2, which fans still constantly ask for. With a new multiplayer suite and potentially a PS5 remaster for The Last of Us Part 2, both are great reasons to revisit Naughty Dog's epic. Henderson also rightly points out that the HBO The Last of Us show, with that on the horizon, it's likely that announcements will come alongside the show's premiere. Whatever the case, hopefully we'll hear from Naughty Dog soon about what they have coming in 2022. So my end is I don't think we get both those, the remake and the remaster, in the same year. Now I know we covered on them potentially working on a remake of the first game last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember when they started production on the remake because I felt like it was more recent. Now with a remake, it depends on how much touch up work they're planning on doing. But if they just started this like 2 years ago, pending, because remakes are different than remasters.
Yep.
You know, the Final Fantasy VII remake, the Demon Souls remake, the Shadow of the Colossus remake. You have to pretty much build it from the ground up again. Like, yeah, you use some of the resources, but you're pretty much starting from scratch again.
Yep.
So that's not an easy task, depending on how much resources they had from the original version of the game. Now, could it come this? I think we'll see the announcement, but I think it's more likely we see like a Last of Us Part 2 director's cut with the Factions multiplayer, like that. That part I believe, but the remake of 1 coming the same year, I think we see the announcement with the HBO show, but I doubt we get it this year.
Yeah, like for me, it's I'm looking to see what Blue Point is working on right now, if they've announced anything.
I don't think they've announced anything.
That might be the only way. Like if Blue Point has come on and
Good point. Well,
they were
no, because when we reported it, they said Naughty Dog was doing it internally.
okay.
Now, Blue Point could be helping, but Naughty Dog said that they are the ones hands on this project.
Yeah, I think they might be getting help because
Yeah.
Demon Souls came out the 12th of November of 2020. So that would make sense, since
Yeah.
PlayStation did buy them, but PlayStation has bought, several companies recently that could be pitching in to help to make these things happen until we get, whatever else Naughty Dog is making. I agree with you. I don't think we get remake and remastered at the same time. I think the remastered of Last of Us 2
Yeah.
is going to be easier, or the
Yeah.
director's cut, if you will, and
Yeah.
launch the multiplayer. I think that's going to be a lot easier, get it to where it looks great on the PS5, which I'm sure it already does. It just came out
Yeah.
June 19th, 2020. So
Yeah.
it's like it's not going to be that much big of a difference and everything. But you know, I think the remake is going to be the longer one that we're going to be waiting for, unless they do
Yeah,
have, you know, Blue Point, like they are the masters of the
yeah,
remasters,
yeah,
you know, and everything. So
exactly.
remakes or whatever you want to call it. So I think, you know, it is of course as a rumor and everything. I think we might get this in Q1 2023. I think that's the plan.
Yeah.
And because
Because if you look at the beginning of this year, we're getting the Uncharted 5 slash Lost Legacy remasters at
yep,
the end of this month, and then next month we're getting Horizon.
yep,
So, like I don't think we'll get too many remasters this year from first party games.
yeah, yeah. I think it's going to be next year to kind of pad stuff out until we
Yeah.
get, you know, Spider-Man. You know, that'll be next year and everything.
Oh man. Like I know it was like September when we saw the announcement for Spider-Man 2, but thinking like that's next
I
year. That's
know.
crazy.
Sorry, I have a alarm go off on me. But yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited. You know, I still need to play Last of Us 2. So if they make a director's cut so I can play it on the PlayStation 5, we'll go there. We'll go there.
Yeah.
I'll wait for the PlayStation 5 version now.
Right.
Let's move on to another rumored thing. God of War Ragnarok release date listed as September 2022 in the PlayStation Now or PSN database.
So God of War Ragnarok has received a preliminary release date of September 30th, 2022 on PlayStation Network's backend system that is according to the Twitter account PlayStation Game Size. Even the source of information, PlayStation Game Size, scraps the PSN backend system as it updates and can relay information such as surprise demos, game file sizes, and other such trinkets. One of the updates that has caught the eye is an update to God of War Ragnarok's release date, which is now listed as September 30th, 2022. It's worth noting, keep bearing in mind that this could indeed be a placeholder as it's the end of Q3 2022, but it does seem that in the ballpark of what to expect from Sony, as we don't currently have another heavy hitter releasing after Forspoken on May 24th. Granted, there are a number of 2022 games that are currently TBA in terms of release dates, and the ongoing pandemic is perhaps making companies skittish about committing to dates. One thing's for sure, the first quarter of 2022, okay, it goes on to how
Yeah.
it's stacked with games. So we've seen with release dates, like I believe, like this is perfect amount of space. Like a couple of years
Mhm.
ago, we saw God of War 2018 come out in April, and then in September we got Spider-Man
Yeah.
2018. So that's perfect amount of space between Horizon. Now, do I consider Forspoken on that level? Like it's a great game, but in terms of the sequels that we know between Horizon
Yeah.
and God of War, it's not there for me.
Yeah.
But in terms of like that's plenty enough space, and Sony with their first party titles are like the MCU. They like to plant their flags in certain months. Like Sony
Mhm.
likes their early year game, their spring game, and like a fall game. They don't, with the exception of like Miles Morales, which was a PS5 launch title, and Death Stranding back in 2017. They don't do holiday games anymore for first party titles. They just don't. So their last hurrah before the holiday kicks off is they like to put out a September game
Mhm.
if they can. Like this past year, they put out Kena Bridge of Spirits.
Yep.
That was their like I wouldn't say a big first party title, but that was like a big game they were pushing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do I still think this game gets pushed to 2023? Probably, but I'm happier, and of course it's a placeholder date, but I'm happier that it would come out later in the year as opposed to like, because that was my wonder, like how soon after Horizon would this drop? So I feel better about this release date if it's true.
Okay, Derek, you want to make a bet right now?
Okay.
I bet they God of War Ragnarok releases this year. Okay.
Ooh,
It
okay.
releases this year. And if it doesn't, I will buy you Five Guys.
Oh God. No large fries, please.
I will buy you Five Guys.
Okay. So I obviously think it will get delayed till Q1 2023.
Now,
And
what
if
if it
it
doesn't?
doesn't,
If it doesn't hit Q1, then I still win.
okay, maybe I need to rethink this. Maybe I need to rethink this. It'll get delayed to 2023. Let me say
Okay.
that.
Okay.
And if it doesn't, See, I'm bad at making this, so you pick what I will get you if it does hit
I'll
2022.
take Five Guys as well.
Okay,
That
all right, fair
we're
enough.
going to Five Guys regardless.
Virtual handshake.
There we go. So, guys, let us know, what do you think? Is God of War Ragnarok going to hit in 2022 or 2023? Let us know down in the comments and the chat. We've got some PlayStation quickies, so let's get to it.
All right, so starting off, Jim Ryan reveals Sony has 17 studios working on first-party titles. PS5 is getting PlayStation Tournament feature this year. Discord set to integrate PlayStation support very soon as user finds option to link PSN account. Excuse me. A couple of rumors. The first one being PlayStation Studios has greenlit Metal Gear Solid meets Splinter Cell open world stealth game. The next rumor is Square Enix has more timed PlayStation exclusives in the pipeline. Announcements could be coming soon. And this comes off of, we talked about a couple weeks ago, that Forspoken is going to be a timed exclusive for 2 years. So Square Enix, would it be crazy as a sidebar type of thing if Sony did a Xbox, like a Bethesda style acquisition and just bought Square Enix? I don't think it'll happen, but if they're got more timed exclusives in the works for PlayStation, it's not out of the realm of possibility, but I digress. Moving on, God of War on PC will support NVIDIA Reflex. Ghost of Tsushima sales have eclipsed 8 million worldwide. You'll love to see it. And then lastly, January PS Now games revealed featuring Mortal Kombat 11, Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age, and Kerbal Space Program Enhanced Edition.
I know Murdoch is going to be excited about Kerbal coming to the PlayStation. He loves some Kerbal. I know he was saddened when Kerbal 2 got pushed and everything, but
Right.
that's a pretty good lineup, especially with Mortal Kombat 11. They've been pushing that game.
Oh, 100%.
Murdoch says Murdoch will disappear when Kerbal comes out. I love it. So, guys, we're gonna jump into some quick hits here, guys, and we're
not done
we're
yet.
not done yet. Derek's got more.
So, starting off, Strangers of Paradise Final Fantasy Origins has exclusive digital pre-order missions. Cobra Kai joins Fortnite in celebration of show's 4th season. Valorant game director, quote, giving up the mantle to work on new project at Riot. Koei Tecmo says it will reveal games that show, quote, the full power of the company in 2022. Saga series creator hints at possible remaster, remake, and a new game. Square Enix's 2022 plans include blockchain games and token economies. Halo Infinite player wins more than 100 consecutive free-for-all matches. Samsung's gaming hub brings cloud gaming to its smart TVs. Dying Light 2 features over 500 items that players can equip. Sonic Frontiers was originally going to release in 2021 for series' 30th anniversary. Shin Megami Tensei 5 becomes best-selling entry in the franchise. Atlas teases new project. CyberConnect 2's next game to be revealed next month, and these are the people that work on the Naruto Shippuden, Ultimate Ninja Store games. They did the My Hero One's Justice games, and most recently did the Demon Slayer game. So expected to be an anime fighting game. Skull and Bones suffers new setback as co-director departs Ubisoft. Death Stranding Director's Cut announced for PC and coming this spring, and it will come to Epic Game Store and Steam at the same time. HyperX's Cloud Alpha wireless headset promises up to 300 hours of battery life. I'm going to put a pause of hesitation on that one. Babylon's Fall has gone gold ahead of March 3rd launch. Brand new Elder Scrolls adventure coming to Elder Scrolls Online, teases Bethesda. Far Cry 6 Pagan Min DLC release set for January 11th, that is literally 5 days from now. Playground Games co-founder leaving studio after 12 years. Mass Effect Legendary Edition and Outer Wilds are out now on Gamepass. And then new month means new free games for both Xbox and PlayStation. Starting off, we get the Xbox Games with Gold for January 2022, the first set for the new year. For the entire month, you get Neurovoider. From January 16th to February 15th, you get Aground. From January 1st to January 15th, you get Radiant Silvergun. And then from January 16th to January 31st, you get Space Invaders Infinity Gene. Then for the PS Plus games for January 2022, you get Deep Rock Galactic for the PS5 and PS4. You get Dirt 5 for the PS5 and PS4, and you get Persona 5 Strikers for the PS4.
All right, there are your quick hits, everybody. Skull and Bones. Derek, do you think this game is ever going to come out, or do you think it's
I
just
was just gonna I meant to say it after I read the quickie. I'm like, just kill this game already. Like, just put it out to sea.
yeah, it deserves a burial at sea because I don't think this game's
Yeah.
ever going to come out. I'm not going to bet on
Nope.
it because I don't want to make Murdoch cry, but I think this game is dead. Yeah, there you go, guys. There's the show this week. We hope that you enjoyed it. You can join us next week when we discuss more video game news. Make sure to hit the follow button if you're watching us live. If you're watching us over on YouTube, hit that subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell so you know when we upload awesome stuff. Next week, we got an awesome show. And we're also going to be talking about Boba Fett episode 3. So check out those as well on our channel and everything. So guys, thank you so much for being here. And Wooladilla, I'm glad to have you here in your translucent fur.
I know. Probably the best description of that character, by the way. So I love the translucent fur. But anyway, yeah, thank you guys. First show of 2022 in the books. Can you believe it's been? I think it's not exactly 1 year, but pretty much close to our 1 year anniversary. Can you believe it?
That's good. We're gonna have to do something big. We're gonna have to do something big.
I know.
Well, guys, thank y'all so much. This has been Zach.
And hold on, let me look at that name. Wooladilla.
Y'all have a blessed week. Bye.